Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I welcome you all in my class. So today we are going to start our poem, that is I Dream a World. That is from reading selection 2.3, the poem by Langston Hughes. If you have your books, please open page number 66. As you all know that this all unit is about hope and aspiration. It's about the dreams for the freedom. It's about hope for the better world. So same will go in this poem as well. So as I have said you many times earlier that you have to complete your previous two lessons regarding and that were I have a dream and glory and hope, because these are all connected together if we are going to observe the thing according to the paper point of view. Okay, so let's come towards and just let's see what is in the poem I Dream a World. If you just see I Dream a World, what comes in your mind? Definitely there would be something that would be coming, a world that would be free of many things. Okay, what could be those things? It could be hatred, it could be malice, it could be prejudice. Okay, so what do we observe in our daily life, what we do observe in real world, that is quite different, and what do we dream of the things that is quite different. So the title of the poem, that it just gives us the view, it just guides us that how the poet would be elaborating, how he would be thinking, what he would be dreaming. Are you getting me? I mean, what he would be dreaming, that dream, I mean those things that are not the part that do not exist in our real life. What do we see in our real life? In our real life we see hatred. In our real life, what do we see? Prejudice. In our real life, what do we see? We see that people are divided because of many reasons, for nothing. So I Dream a World by the poet, that is, the poet name is, he is the poet from a great American poet, and his name is Langston Hughes, a black American poet born in Missouri, USA. He was a versatile writer, poet, novelist and playwright, and he wrote about socio-economic political realities faced by black community in America. So we'll see that as we have observed in our first lesson as well, by the speech by Dr. King, that we have observed that what was the situation of a black American in the country. So it would be serving as a background knowledge for us, and we will be keeping all these things in our mind, that what they were served with anger, they were served with inequality, they were served with the, you can say, biased approach based on their color of the skin. So definitely the socio-economic condition of black people, that was not very good. Then the realities that were so harsh, Hughes aimed to make black narrative part of mainstream American culture. So he wants to just speak, he wants to just make contribute towards that American literature by writing some versatile, by writing some significant poems. The main feature of his poetry describes the struggle and life of black people. That is very important. Whenever a poet write about something, definitely he just wants to convey some idea. So what is his idea? What is his idea? What does he want to convey? He want to convey the struggle and life of black people. Okay, it is very important, you have to keep this thing in mind, that his main concern is the struggle and the life of black people. As you just see that here, even the any of the significant person from that black American or the black community, that they just raise their voice against the unequal laws designed for the black people, or we may say that on the basis of racism. So he just conveys the same in the case with Langston Hughes. He, being a black American poet, he wants to convey his idea. Being an American, he wants to convey the harsh realities of the life and those that they are being staggered. So we'll continue with the next, that what is in the next. We'll see that what the poet just continues with the next, that he wants to convey, he dreams about a world that he hopes for something better than the rest of the poem, right? So what is his idea? His idea is that he wants to hope for the better thing. There is some problem. Let me complete. Let me just see what is going wrong with this thing. Okay. So come towards page number 66. Page number 66, stanza number 1. Let me read for you. I dream a world where men no other will scorn, where love will bless the earth and peace its path adorn. I dream a world. As the title of the poem is also Dream, I Dream a World, so same is the case with the poem. The poem begins with the phrase, I dream a world, which makes it clear that the poet is in the hope for something better, and in the rest of the poem he will be continuing with the same tone. He describes about his dream. So as I have told you earlier, that what do we want to see in our dreams that we do not find in our reality, or we want to achieve something better in our real life. So dreams are based on sometime our inspirations, sometime our hopes. So he hopes for a better world. Here the poet says that he dreams of a world where no man will scorn, where no man will just hate each other, and where love will bless the earth and peace its path adorn, where love will be blessed, where there will be brotherhood, where there will be no discrimination, where they will be treated like white. So he talks about that where their black will be loved and the peace will be granted to world by eradicating the discrimination. So he desires, he hopes for the freedom, for for love and peace. The same has been and the same continues in the paraphrase as well. In the first stanza, the poet dreams a world where there is no equality and no prejudice between the races. So the first paragraph is about that he wants to finish. He wants to just bring equality, and he wants to finish discrimination, racial discrimination. Instead, there is love and peace on earth. In fact, poet likes to live in a society where there is a peace and assurance of right for everyone. So poet want to live in a world where there is the poet continues in the second stanza. Then he says, I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way, where greed no longer saps the soul, no avarice blights our day. So he continues with the same tone, with the same statement, that I dream a world, as I have talked to you earlier, as I have told you earlier, that once if we want to emphasize on something, so we repeat the things. So in the second stanza, he begins with the phrase I dream a world. He continues with that thing, and then he desires for a world where everybody, especially the black one, will enjoy the freedom of the speech. Okay, so they will be free in true sense to talk, freedom to roam everywhere. There will not be any greed, that is, everybody will be a helping hand. There will be no material, there will not be any, you can say, pursue for materialist to achieve the materialistic desires. So he says, he continues with that. The second stanza envisages a world where all enjoy freedom, where greed for materialistic gains do not destroy people peace of mind. The poet uses the personification greed no longer saps the soul, giving the non-human entity of greed the human action of sapping the draining the soul. So poet dreams of a world which is free from all social evil. So as the poet continues, what does he say? He says that I dream a world where he just gets another idea. He just emphasizes that where all will enjoy freedom. Freedom doesn't mean that you live freely. It means that you are given all your rights to enjoy them freely. Right to speak, right to go, right to do as a human whatever you want to do in living in all those social norms. And greed for materialistic gains that just lead us to do wrong deeds. So he says where there will not be greed and self-interest, it is not going to block others because they are considered as superior. So once we are just tangled by our own greeds, once we are snared by our own greeds, when we talk about our own greed, definitely we will move we will follow those steps that take us towards the materialistic gain. And ultimately in a society where there is greed and self-interest, there are more self-interest, it is like plague, it is like a disease. So he just gives the quality of human quality to greed, that as greed will not be sapping, will not be draining, taking away, will not be making the human soul weak. No Everest blight our day, even the no, not sight of any sort of greed, materialism is going to blight our day, is going to spoil, destroy our mark. So greed sapping the soul is a personification, giving the non-human entity of greed, we are just giving a human action of sapping and draining a soul. Similarly Everest is given a human personality and ability to blight a day. So are you getting mean here the poet in order to emphasize, in order to make the things more emphatic, he has used the personification and here in the poem there is it is repeated with this thing. Okay, so he idealizes the thing, he goes on with that things, continues with the thing even in the third stanza. In the third stanza he says, a world I dream where black or white, whatever race you be, will share the bounties of the earth, and every man is free. Okay, so in the third stanza he says, a world I dream, as told you earlier, that what do we dream? We dream about our aspiration, we dream about our hopes, we dream about those things that we cannot achieve, or we dream about those things that are our own aims. So he says that I dream a world where black or white, whatever race you be, will share the bounties of the earth, and every man is free. In these words again, the third stanza visualizes a world which is free of discrimination on the basis of color and race, where all share the natural resources. The poet imagines a democratic society where they will have the equality among races. All black and white will enjoy equal opportunity. So he imagines a far more democratic state. So in the very first line, when he says, whatever race you be, he wants to finish that racial discrimination. He talks about the equality. He talks about the equality between even black and white. Then he expands to include all races, not just black and white. For in the world, everyone is free. Everyone is free doesn't mean that we are. It doesn't mean that we are just being enslaved. Then we are not free. Free means that you have the freedom to speak. You have the freedom to move. And then he says that we are going to share the bounties of the earth, we are going to share the reward or the prizes or the riches of the world. It is for everyone. So the here in the third stanza, poet for the very first time becomes, you can say, very much clear or very much expressive in his way when he uses the word black. Okay, so when he uses the word black, previously it had been that I dream a world about the people, about everyone, but no, here he specifies that I dream a world where black or white. So he specifies his dream for the very first time for the black, and then he moves towards the world. okay. And he wants the complete freedom for everyone. He expresses his desire of freedom to in even in moving forward, that he wants that everyone should enjoy the natural resources, okay, where what's from whatsoever race you are. Where wretchedness, then he continues, where wretchedness will hang itself, very important. Wretchedness, that is poverty, misery, unfortunate conditions, enjoy like a pearl. Attend the needs of all mankind, of such how I dream my world. So, where wretchedness, where misery will hang its head, it will be finished, enjoy like a pearl. As you know, that pearl is very precious, it's very rare. Attend the need of all mankind, of such I dream our world. So the last stanza idealizes the world where there is no poverty, no misery, where joy and happiness will serve all mankind. So in the last stanza, in the final stanza, he just wants the world, an idealized world. He wants such a world where there will be no misery, and everybody will have access to joy. So this is all about, the poem is all about the dreams. So in the last stanza, he wants that everyone must have his equal share, his access towards the facility of the, towards the all the facilities of the life. So he says, he continues that he idealizes that world, the vision of an ideal world where there is no where there will be peace and prosperity everywhere. There will not be any ugly thing. So he personifies again here. He just gives the quality of, he just again here uses that wretchedness is referred as woe and misery, okay. So here he used the pearl as as beautiful and precious. So what is the quality of a pearl? By using the word pearl, the writer wants to suggest that as pearl is rare, so same is the case with the joy, with the happiness and peace. Like a rare pearl, which is found deep in the sea, in an oyster, and it is among the thousands of the oysters where there would be a pearl. It is something truly worth cherishing that can bring great happiness to us. So then he gives that he personifies that wretchedness that will have the human equality by hanging its death, right, and joy will be attending the needs of all mankind. So this seemingly simple poem is having very symbolic, and it is having a central, it is having a moral as well, that the poet dreams a world, he visualizes a world that doesn't exist in reality. He just dreams for everyone, but specifically for the black people. It's just shows us the importance of justice and equality that are beautiful, and it may make the world beautiful. But specifically talking about the black community, especially during the days when the Hughes wrote the poem, it also reflects that how as human we have failed. We are just captured, entangled in our greed and materialistic cause. So in order to achieve all those things, if we do achieve all those matters, we just get hold of greed, we just get hold of racial discrimination, if we just get hold of our own self-interest, then definitely there would be a world that would be free of greed, that would be free of malice, that would be free of hatred, that would be giving the equal opportunity to everyone to prosper, and definitely then there would be a joy that would be no doubt rare, but everyone can enjoy. And definitely, ultimately, when the joy will be cherished here, so wretchedness that is causing disturbance to everyone will be hanged to death. So that was all for the poem. It was simple and beautiful poem. It presents before us the dream and the vision or utopia, an ideal world which has perfect peace and harmony, where freedom rules supreme and everyone lives a blessed life. So that was all for today. I hope so that you have got all the points. If there is any problem, please let me know so that we may just discuss this. Thank you so much. Take care of you.